Can we hear that safety announcement?
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Diodato, public comments.
Yes, thank you, Chair Lieber, and good morning, all. We have 3 members of the public registered to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. Also, in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. Our first speaker will be Christopher Greif, followed by Jason Anthony.
Good morning, everyone. Christopher D. Greif. Happy Disability Pride Month, 8835, which we celebrate on Saturday. As we talk about safety and stuff, I'm just glad to see that during the flood times that the train didn't leave, did protect the customers in the train, does show that the one train is very strong and very popular because it's not MTA, but Department of Environmental needs to work with us to fix the sewer systems and making sure safety, because I remember years ago we mentioned this before, and they need to come to us to fix these pipes, update our water system. But at the same time, as we are working on safety for accessibilities, rerouting accessible customers to different locations of trains, buses, we need to make sure the safety is always around. Just like we have NYPD, MTA Police. I thank them very much what they've been doing, keeping our system safe from the railroads to the subways. And I do want to thank them to dealing with these surfers on the R211B train, because at least you see something, say something. And I was really glad to see them getting they deserved, because we like to see the new trains, but we also need to think of safety. And trains are not a toy, and we're not a movie theater. If you want to practice that, go to California to go practice the movies there. Happy 8835, everyone. Happy Disability Pride Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by Mary Bowden.
Good morning, Jana. Good morning, Kemper. And good morning to the rest of the board members. Jason Anthony, the transit guru. We should remember the latest incident of subway surfing that occurred along my favorite subway line, the 6th train. This incident became so viral that even some news outlets throughout the country show it. And I even saw it and I said, wow. That even news outlets as far north as Boston and far south as South Florida showed it. And the comments that I saw in those videos was impressive. So we should remind people, especially teenagers, that it's best for them to ride inside, stay alive. But also, we are seeing videos of teenagers alike, young adults, entering into conductors' cabs and stealing keys from conductors and train operators. We could report videos like this, but social media apps are not taking the videos down. What we could do about this is like we were told after 9/11, if we see something, say something. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your comments. Our last speaker is Mary Bowden, remote. Our next speaker is Mary Bowden. Mary, are you with us?
Oh, I can see. I don't miss that. I used the start my video. I used the Metro North Roaring Brook Railroad crossing on July 26th, 2025 at 4 p.m. Few other cars on the road. Red lights were flashing. Ahead of me, I could see the Sawmill River Parkway traffic lights were green. No trains were seen. The gates were up, and there was no indication they were about to move. I had no idea what to do. I kept going and turned south on the Sawmill River Parkway. I've been there 100 times. I've never had an experience like this. There must be traffic lights there to tell a driver exactly what to do. Red flashing lights were invented 100 years ago because that's what they had then. Today, there must be standard red, green, yellow traffic lights, which everyone understands. The accident in Valhalla happened because it was not clear what a driver was supposed to do. It is your responsibility to convert the red flashing lights, which are enormously outdated, to standard traffic lights, which give a driver everywhere information that's useful. I had a little trouble understanding how this system works. At 92, I'm not able to understand the new way you do things, but it appears to work okay. I'm learning. Thank you for listening. The responsibility is yours to save lives.
Thank you, Chair Lieber. That concludes today's public speaking portion of the committee meeting.
Thank you, and thank you to the public speakers. Mr. Heyman, are there any changes to the work plan?
No changes, sir.
Okay. Would you report on safety and security metrics?
Yes, thank you, Chair Lieber, and good morning to everyone. Our key metrics start on page 9. I'm pleased to share that overall metrics across the operating agencies continue a positive trend. Before we dive into the presentations from construction, development, and security, I'd like to take a moment to highlight the progress made by other agencies thanks to the excellent work of our safety departments and operating teams. These achievements underscore our ongoing commitment to enhancing safety across all agencies and the benefits of strong collaborations with our stakeholders. Long Island Railroad's reportable customer injury rate decreased by 29% over the past 12-month reporting period, and their reportable lost time injury rate saw an improvement, decreasing by 10%. Metro North's reportable customer injury rate also decreased 13% in the same period, and their reportable employee lost time injury rate also improved, decreasing by 5%. New York City Transit, subway, and bus employee lost time injuries continued to decrease over the past 12 months, as well as the subway customer accident rate. And at bridges and tunnels, we continue to see a positive trend in reducing customer vehicle collisions by 23% over the past year. In closing, I'd like to congratulate New York City Transit, Metro North, and Long Island Railroad for recently receiving safety and security awards from APTA. Now I'd like to ask Ozzy, Vice President of Safety at Construction and Development, to present their safety highlights.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt and say we need to just take a breath and recognize everybody's got to look at those stats. To drive down across the board customer injuries, employee injuries, and other metrics of safety, push them in the right direction by double digits, basically across the board. Sometimes we throw out a lot of metrics every month. That's significant stuff, and the folks who do that really need to be acknowledged and congratulated. So, tip of the hat to Transit, Metro North, Long Island Railroad. Everybody is pulling in the right direction. A special shout out to bridges and tunnels. There are 23% fewer accidents than in the prior year that's measured against. Correct?
Correct.
23% fewer accidents on our bridges and tunnels. Very, very significant. So everybody, we understand that the tabloid press wants to talk about individual incidents of crime or violence in our system, but there are other significant metrics of safety, and these are very, very significant signs of progress. So to everybody who's involved with that work, big tip of the hat. Okay. With that, go ahead and let's hear what C&D has got to measure up to those signs of progress.
Thank you, Chair, Safety Chief, board members, and good morning to everyone. I'm pleased to present the agency's update to C&D safety program. This presentation can be found in your booklet starting on page 39. As previously presented to the Safety Committee, our safety management system aims to establish a best-in-class safety program that enhances our current safety practices. We have been working on standardizing our processes, forms, and current safety standards within the safety management system for contractors, as well as our occupational health and safety management for employees. This standardization ensures consistent protocols across all construction sites while enabling collaboration with our stakeholders and operating agencies. We increase inspection frequencies, including announced and unannounced safety assessments. We're also improving training programs and hazard assessments to make work sites safer for staff and contractors. Additionally, we're holding contractor safety meetings with general contractors and design builders who pose higher operational risks and show trends in safety and noncompliance. To further strengthen the program, we are increasing security oversight on our construction sites to improve overall project security. As a result of these efforts, we have observed a decrease in incidences and non-compliant safety observations, which I will present in this presentation. To enhance our safety culture, we are developing our program to align with the internationally recognized ISO 45001 safety standard, which C&D is actively pursuing certification. It involves standardizing our systems to enhance operational efficiencies and safety programs, fostering a safer workplace. The Occupational Health and Safety Management System offers a strong framework to improve workplace safety and promote employee engagement in safety practices, both in the office and in the field. This encourages staff's participation, benefiting from their well-beings and productivities. Our contractor safety management ensures contractors and consultants meet safety expectations. It improves communication, clarifies roles, streamlines working with safety oversight, identifies risk early, offers targeted training, mitigates hazards, and prepares contractors to uphold safety standards at the start. The SMS program will provide C&D with real-time data that will be used to evaluate the safety records of our contractors and consultants in conjunction with assessments for future programs and contract awards. So let's look at the effects of these programs. The slide shows an increase in number of safety inspections conducted, shown in orange, which include inspections performed by our business unit safety, OSIP inspectors, and third-party inspectors. This increase has positively impacted our overall quarterly statistics through a proactive approach, resulting in a decrease in recorded incidences that lead to worker injuries classified as lost time and recordable incidences. While there was a slight rise in incidences during the second and third quarter of 24, the overall trend indicates that our efforts have successfully contributed to reducing the number of incidents in Q1 and Q2 of 25, as highlighted in the green arrow in the graph. These improvements are directly tied to our targeted efforts, including a standardization of inspection process, a robust corrective action program, enhanced contractor communication, a focus on project accountability, and ongoing training and building awareness to support the hazard identification on current, ongoing, and future projects. This slide highlights the notable improvements of safety performance when comparing the late 24 to the early 25 quarters. These incidences dropped by 32%. I'm sorry, this skipped the line. My apologies. Slide 5, correct. All right, so these slides are noteworthy improvements to safety performance when comparing to 24 and 25 quarters. These incidents dropped by 32%, which also decreased in Q3 and Q4 of 24 compared to the new quarter of 25. Breaking that down, lost time incidences were reduced by nearly half at 48%. The recordable injuries, I'm sorry, it's missing a slide, so I'm just gonna jump to that slide over there, and I apologize for that. So here we conducted over 6,500 inspections so far this year, demonstrating a consistent safety presence across our jobs. During those inspections, we identified more than 4,400 non-compliance issues. Some were immediately fixed on site, while others were managed through our corrective action program and contractor meetings. But just as important is the fact that we've logged nearly 198,000 compliant contract safety observations, a stronger indication that our contractors are increasingly aligned with safety expectations. Even more encouraging, that over 4,500 inspections resulted in 0 findings, indicating that no issues were observed. This highlights both the better site risk assessments of our contractor and greater safety awareness. We're placing a strong emphasis on contractor and project teams engagement meetings where increased incidents or non-compliant observations are trending. These meetings are designed to review real-time data on current safety trends, making sure contractors and consultants understand the risks that are being involved in the projects. We emphasize clarity, a role in the expectations, ensuring that each team member understands what is required of them to support a safe work environment. Discussions about these potential safety improvements, program adjustments, and project changes take place with active participation from both corporate management and the project team. The goal is not just to identify issues, but to work together on proactive solutions and collaborative corrections and plan ahead to preventing reoccurrence risk. Ultimately, the process reinforces our culture for continuous improvement, not just for safety compliance, but also as a commitment to doing better and moving forward, with safety being a priority while upholding project commitments. Here, there are 2 examples of our contractor engagement meetings that will illustrate the process. On the left, a rising trend.
Hang on a second. Can we take down the real-time data? Because you can't see what's on the slides. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I'm violating the ADA in some way, please, Chief Kemper, cuff me up and take me away. But I think we all like to see the slides. Okay, thanks.
So great. So on the left, a rising trend of non-compliant observation is visible across the combined contracts highlighted in yellow. We initiated our engagement strategy once the increase was identified. This involved focused engagement sessions on the project site and with the contractor executive management at our office. By reviewing real-time data, collaborating, and having the contractor develop and commit to a corrective action plan, we noticed a steady decline in our safety non-compliance after these engagements. On the right is another contractor with a similar trend across their contracts. After a peak in Q3, non-compliant observations sharply declined in Q1 and Q2 of 25 following targeted efforts of safety, hazard, risk assessment, and worker safety training. These instances demonstrate how structured engagement and collaborations with our contractors contribute to our safety commitment, ensuring project success in every level. So here we wanted to showcase and highlight 2 of our programs. The first is our works of our C&D emergency management team. Over the past 2 years, we've conducted 5 tabletop trainings, 3 in 24 and 2 so far in 25. The sessions are designed to simulate emergency scenarios and test response coordination. A key initiative including training C&D teams on incident readiness, engaging stakeholders in developing continuity of operation plans to providing incident management support. As a result, we've improved our response capabilities, strengthening collaboration with our project managers and consultants, and are now better equipped to support emergency activations across the MTA with our sister operating agencies. This proactive planning ensures that our projects are not only safe during construction, but also resilient in the face of unexpected events, providing support when needed to help restore public services. Our second program to highlight is the work of our C&D security team. This department is newly established, and we have been actively assisting and collaborating with our projects. So far this year, the team has conducted inspections at 35 sites. These inspections are both proactive and reactive, aiming to identify and addressing security risks before they occur. Key initiatives include educational programs through bulletin and guidance, forming partnerships with consultants, contractors, and stakeholders. This has an increased compliance of awareness and enhanced hazard mitigations via the inspections, collaboration, and security practices across the projects. This comprehensive approach promotes safer construction site and strengthens security programs. And that concludes my briefing, and I apologize because there was another slide that was missing.
Questions or comments? Okay, I'll start us out because I have a few. One, can you give us stats, and not for now, but on the construction accidents that lead to lawsuits? Like, what's the trend on that? Because that is a huge factor, both bad for workers if they get injured, but also bad for the MTA if we end up defending litigations and it impacts on our insurance, which I know C&D has had some success controlling. But I'd like to get the stats on whether they're construction accidents, specifically construction. This is the presentation that you gave is powerful because obviously you're using things on a programmatic basis,
Right.
But a little more specific, like construction accidents that take place on X year that have led to lawsuits, even if the lawsuit is filed later. Okay, so I'd like to have that picture. Number two is drug and alcohol testing. When I was running the World Trade Center project, we did what was then, it's more than 10 years ago, a path-breaking initiative where we were actually testing people as they came back from lunch and so on a selective basis. It was random testing. I want to know more about the drug and alcohol policy. It was, at that time, there were lots of press reports where people would follow people to the tavern for their lunch, where there were downtown restaurants that offered burger and 2 beers, right? And so on and so on. I want to understand our drug and alcohol policy on the site and get some more detail on that. Ladder safety. One of the principal construction accident predictors is whether you have controls over whether people are just taking ladders out, willy-nilly and getting up on them without proper collaboration with workforce and circumstances and safety precautions. So I'd like to understand more specifics. You gave us a very broad and I think a good picture of all the programmatic stuff that's being done. But I'd like to get, for this committee, down in the weeds on construction safety. Like, what are the things that are leading to accidents? What are we doing to control them? Some of this is just as simple as, maintaining. I look at my union brothers over there. It's just maintaining an orderly work site in many cases that makes a difference because of slip and falls and people getting stuff tangled and bad stuff happening. But I'd like to know what are the principal conditions that are leading to accidents, and what are we doing to constrain those in addition to the effective communication with workers and contractors and safety professionals and so on. So maybe we don't need to do this now, but if you would assemble that data and we can
Definitely.
circulate it to the committee and have a, maybe a follow-up discussion at some time. Those are all things that interest me
Definitely.
as a mostly reformed project executive. Other questions and comments from the committee? Okay, Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you. Can you go back to the slide that showed the number of incidents on the inspections that failed? And it'd help me if in the future the slides are numbered, so you don't have to scroll like it say, go to slide 3. No, not that, the color-coded one. You had 4 colors across the top.
Yep. There we go.
There you go. So what's the difference between the orange and the purple?
So the orange here is the number of non-compliance that were found during our course of inspections throughout the beginning of this year. The purple is a combination of inspections that were performed that found 0 findings, which means when we went on site, there was no negative observations that were found during 4,554 of those inspections.
Mr. O'Donnell, I think I would read those stats to suggest that about 2.5,
Yes.
they observe a lot of things when they come on a site. So 2.5% of the time, the observation is a negative or non-compliance. That's, I think, what the stats are telling you.
Okay.
But overall, correct me if I'm wrong, Ozzy.
Sure.
You have 0 findings in an inspection about 2/3 of the time,
That
correct?
is correct,
Okay.
yes. And that was the point that we were trying to make
Yeah.
with that.
Right. So what do you do with the non-compliance?
So
What's
the-
the process?
So the non-compliance, we either have them fix it on site where they're capable of fixing it when we identify them, or we have a CA process, which is a corrective action form, where we follow up to ensure, A, that they correct it to their safety stats and standards that we want them to, and B, they're mitigating those moving forward so that we can ensure that they're not reoccurring those at the same time.
Okay.
And safety is a factor in our contractor evaluation process,
Yes,
is
it
not?
is.
So that's ultimately how we put pressure on contractors. If they get a crappy safety evaluation, it may impact on their competitiveness for future work.
Yes.
I'm going to rush us along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else? Okay, Mr. McCagliano, will you quickly go through the stats that you're going to share?
Yes, good morning, Chair Lieber, Chief Hammond, Chief Kemper, and members of the Safety Committee. This morning, I'd like to give you a briefing on Security Grant Program. On this slide, you're going to see funding sources that we've been able to take advantage of to support our security mitigation measures. On the left-hand side, you will see the Transit Security Grant Program and the Port Security Grant Program. Both of those fall under Department of Homeland Security preparedness grants. They are administered by FEMA, with TSA being the subject matter expert. We are direct recipients of these funds. These grant programs are geared solely towards counterterrorism measures. They do not support traditional crime reduction. Although terrorism is a crime, this is the only crime that these grants are focused towards funding mitigations. The Port Security Grant Program differs in that it's centric to transit agencies that have a port component. So for our purposes, this particular funding source is exclusive to bridges and tunnels. And when I say transportation agencies, these particular grants are for ground transportation, surface transportation, as well as aviation. On the right-hand side, we see, and I'll just point out that the Transit Security Grant Program, we've been the largest recipient of funds from the Transit Security Grant Program since its inception back in 2003. Urban Area Security Initiative is also a grant program that falls under Department of Homeland Security preparedness grants. We are not a direct recipient. We are not considered a UASI primary stakeholder. We hope to be one day. That's a longer story to get into about our struggle to gain that status. But we are a sub-grantee of New York State. So what we do is we ask for a portion of monies from New York State allocation. The fourth funding source we see here is a fairly new one, the New York State Law Enforcement Tech Grant. This is administered by the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services. This is geared towards crime detection, crime reduction, and solving of crimes through technological means. Okay, so let's bring us to 2024. When I last briefed this committee last year, about this time, we had not received our 2024 awards yet. So as you can see here, we had a pretty good array of projects funded. 6 of 8 investment justifications were funded. 8 is the maximum amount of investment justifications you can submit, and we had 6 funded. We always say that we have a layered security approach, which we do, and our requests and the awards we receive reflect that layered security approach. You can see we had 2 IT security projects funded. We had training drills and exercises funded in partnership with New York State Department of Homeland Security, specifically for the Moynihan Train Hall. We had 2 operational projects funded for the MTA Police Department, which included targeted counterterrorism patrols and support of our K-9 unit in the form of sustenance and new equipment and resources. We also received an award for a very important capital project to enhance and improve CCTV coverage within the Metro North network with deployable CCTV systems. On the UASI side, we did submit for and receive, and I'll point out the number is not up there in the Transit Security Grant Program. We received an award of $19.8 million, almost $20 million, out of an appropriation of $83.7 million. So we received 24% of the national appropriation, which is right on par with what our average is since inception. Just a little, maybe slightly below, because I believe our average, and I'll have it on a future slide coming up, our average is a little over 27% for the life of the grant program. Going back to urban area security initiative, so we appealed to the state, and we did receive awards to support the installation of cameras in the conductor cab and platform areas. That is ongoing. We did receive $1 million for the conductor cab platform cameras, and then $500,000 to deploy rapidly, to deploy cellular cameras within the New York City transit environment to increase and enhance our situational awareness footprint within New York City Transit. And as I mentioned, the LE Tech Grant First Time Award, MTA PD did get an award of $850 million to support a drone as a first responder program. Okay, 2025. Right now, the Notice of Funding Opportunity has not been released by FEMA. This is late in the game for a normal course of business. It usually is released in spring, late spring the latest. We have been told by our FEMA handlers that a Notice of Funding Opportunity is forthcoming and that the terms and appropriation will be identical to last fiscal year. We haven't been sitting around. We have been working very closely under Chief Kemper's direction with agency security leads, chief security officers, vice presidents of security at the agencies, and we have formulated 8 investment justifications we plan to submit. Our request right now is at about $37.4 million. If the appropriation, happens to go up and it's more generous, we could scale these up, some of these projects, but that's what our needs are now. So you can see, again, in line with our layered security approach and the priorities of the grant, we have a pretty good assortment of projects to address our needs. 2 IT projects, more camera projects, weapons of mass destruction, expansion into our system. That's a detection technology. MTA PD to support continued counterterrorism patrols. The MTA PD is in need of a new mobile command post vehicle, which we hope to have funded. And these 2 last capital projects, they're major station complexes that are pretty high priority on our internal threat vulnerability risk assessment. And these 2 stations have designs that were previously funded by the Transit Security Grant Program. So we hope to now have them, in turn, fund the installation and construction. As we move forward for the Port Security Grant Program, again, centric to bridges and tunnels, we are looking for a drone as a first responder program to be initiated at bridges and tunnels. They already have a drone detection program, but we are looking to expand it. So as there are more and more commercial drones entering the market, we want to be able to detect those drones in addition to the ones we're already able to detect. We're looking for an underwater security scanning system to help mitigate a waterborne attack, a potential waterborne attack. And MTIT is put in for some mitigation measures that are exclusive to MTA bridges and tunnels. And with the MTA PD having a footprint now and a presence at bridge and tunnel facilities, we wanted to, they requested a RAD truck, which we hope to fund, that they could use for day-to-day operations with normal traffic and large trucks, but also for special events, large-scale activities that happen at the bridges and tunnels. This slide just depicts some notable occurrences during the course of the grant program. We start with 2009. Why 2009? Because that was the high point of funding for the Transit Security Grant Program. The appropriation was $348.6 million this particular fiscal year. We received 34% that year, $119.4 million. To put things into perspective, the entire appropriation for the nation today is $83.7 million. We received a large excess of that just as an individual stakeholder in 2009. In 2009, in the wake of the 2008 financial meltdown, there was a supplement, the American Recovery and Investment Act. That was a $150 million pot of money, I believe. We received $47.7 million, again, over 30%. So we had a stellar year in 2009, taking advantage of that high appropriation. We point out 2012 because that's the year that the funding level dramatically plummeted to where it landed there in 2012 and where it sits today. It's been flat since then. 87 million for everyone in the nation to compete for. But as the appropriation went down, you could see that our percentage stayed pretty much the same. We received 32%. So although the number is smaller, the percentage is the same. And in 2020, we had 7 of 8 investment justifications awarded. Again, 32% staying at a pretty high level. It shows that we're understanding the priorities that the federal government's putting forth in their notice of funding opportunities, and it reflects so in our investment justifications when you have 7 of 8 projects funded. And this graph just tries to show you how the funding has dropped off. So the pie chart on the left shows you the total amount of funding, which if you add up the two numbers, it's about $3.1 billion. So of that $3.1 billion, we've received $842.3 million, or 27.25%. The rest of the nation, all of the other stakeholders through the duration of this program since 2003, have received $2.247 billion.
Okay, I'm going to cut us off at this point, unless you have, is there a lot more to?
That's it.
Go? Okay.
That's it, Chair.
So just, the core point here is, for reasons that are not entirely clear, the federal government has dramatically reduced investment in transit security, even though we all know that the threats and the threats to iconic locations like our transit system have not reduced. And it's one of those things that we take up with the federal government regularly, but we have not gotten them to reverse course on that reduction. Congressman Garbarino from Long Island is now the chair of the Homeland Security Committee as of last week, and I think we should all make a run at getting him to exercise some leadership on, a reduction in investment, even as we're increasing defense investment and all kinds of security investments. This one has not, so we got to focus on that significantly. Mr. Albert.
Yes, thank you, and thanks for the presentation. What I'm missing, maybe, or it's not there, is many, many, many years ago, I've been here a long time, we were talking about a tunnel intrusion detection program, which if somebody was unauthorized in the tunnels, it would set off an alarm because they didn't punch in a requisite code at some point. With the recent location of a bomb on the tracks of the Williamsburg Bridge, it's obvious that we need this tunnel intrusion program. Where are we on that? Because anybody can disguise themselves as a homeless person and when nobody's around, walk into the tunnel and set off something.
Oh, understood, Commissioner Albert. So as you may know, there is a major capital project that's underway. I believe its scheduled completion date is 2027, and that's URT3, which addresses all the under-river tunnels with intrusion detection, access control, and CCTV. So those mitigation measures will be built into that URT3, and C&D could probably speak more intimately to the progress of that project, but that will have that type of detection built in. When we go in and do, like for example, I mentioned J Street, and I believe we had Canal Street up there. When we go in and do a major station complex and we look, when we say ESS, we're looking at comprehensive, not just cameras, access control, intrusion detection, and lids, laser intrusion detection, which we would want to do at the track level. So we assess, the threat level at each individual station as we move forward, and then we build that into design because we don't want to retrofit it. The stations that don't have it, naturally we're looking to expand it, funding permitting.
That's stations. What about the track between stations?
No, we're talking about. That's what I'm
Okay,
referring to.
great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, we're running a bit short on time. Thank you, Mr. Mercagliano. Okay, so can we do the minutes? The minutes, I asked for an approval of the minutes from the April committee meeting. Any comments or changes? Mr. Herbst makes a motion. Mr. O'Donnell is a second. All in favor? Any opposition? The minutes are approved. I ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Thank you, Mr. Herbst, for a second. We're adjourned. We are adjourned. That's the idea. You get to...